Good morning. I hope everyone's having a good day. I'm going to have at least two presentations about thesis statements. I'm guessing that, as always, there's going to be a lot of overlap. I hope that this one helps cover the basics, and the next one gives a little bit more about the how to. If this one happens to be more how to, and the next one reviews basics, sorry about that. But there will be two, and I'm just calling this one a review of the basics. Step one: when you're writing the thesis, think about what your essay's purpose is. For the summary response essay that we're going to be working on right now, analysis is part of it because you're going to analyze the green essays and tell me what they're about. Argument is going to be part of it because you're going to make an argument in the response that it's good, bad, or whatever. You're going to make a claim and you're going to support the claim. So, in a lot of ways, you're going to have two different thesis statements, in this essay. Make sure you have one that will deal with the subject adequately. And by adequately, first of all, it's going to fit the assignment's length, 2 to 5 pages. Don't try to force something. It's not going to fit. Try to shorten it up. Anticipate counter arguments. If you hate teddy bears and think that Green was too generous when he ranked teddy bears at 2.5 stars, anticipate some counter arguments because a lot of people seem to like teddy bears. And remember, it's not a laundry list. You're not putting everything out there. You're making several points, and that's it. Just a couple, 2 to 5 pages. It's not a laundry list of ideas. These are the points my essay is going to deal with. My response is going to deal with. These are the points Green made in his essay. So, for example, in a 2 to 5 page paper, you are not going to discuss the foundations of modern global business systems. Part one: define and differentiate the three economic philosophies of capitalism, socialism, and communism as pertains to management fundamentals, organizing and staffing, labor management, and production and operations. If you try, I am not going to be saying check out the big brain on Brad. I might be using a couple other Samuel L. Jackson words, but I'm not using this one. You got 2 to 5 pages. Summarize the essay, respond to the essay. That's what a summary response paper is supposed to do. Make sure your thesis sets up the summary, and make sure the thesis in the response tells your reader what to expect. This one I think is more general for some of the future papers. Move beyond yes and no questions, ask a question. But, if Green says humans are driven primarily by self interest, I don't think he does, but if he does, then you can talk about if that's his thesis, you can respond whether he's right or wrong. That's in the response. Remember that the summary is here are Green's main points. Ask yourself questions. How are humans driven by self interest? Why are humans driven primarily by self interest? And why aren't they? If you disagree, think about why they aren't and use that as part of your response as well. Remember, a response can be I agree and I disagree. Take a stance and go from there. I think remember also that thesis is an intellectual process as well. You're thinking through things. You're not stating obvious facts. Your thesis is not, there is no tiger in the men's room across the hall from the classroom. That's a statement of obvious fact. And remember, yes and no is just an automatic contradiction. It's just automatically gainsaying something the other person says. You're engaged in an intellectual process as you write your thesis. Be specific. Good, bad, cute, positive, negative, very, really, stuff, aspects, things are all words that either have 5 million meanings or have no meaning. Avoid those words. Be specific. Be concrete. Concrete nouns, action verbs. It makes for good writing. Stuff and concept are not concrete. Get and do don't really provide action. Avoid, you just heard me say really. It didn't help any. And all of the words in that first line are vague. Weak is in the eye of the beholder. Pretty is in the eye of the beholder. And the phrase pretty weak is certainly in the eye of the beholder. Don't confuse your reader. Don't force your reader to think. Do the thinking for them. Instead of leaving your reader shrugging her shoulders, take your reader by the hand and lead her to the point you want to make. And the thesis is the thing that allows you to grab the hand and lead her to where you want to go. Again, don't make your reader wonder so what. Let your reader know what's important and why you believe it's important. It should be a complete sentence. It should identify the purpose. It should explain the stance. It should be specific. It should narrow the focus. And it should provide a roadmap for the reader and the writer. Talking about narrowing the focus, I talked about the funnel idea where you move from general to specific. The thesis is the thing that gets to the specifics that guides everything for you as a writer. Brainstorm. Write down all the ideas, pick the ones you like best. Remember, you're not doing everything. What's the goal? After reading this essay, the reader should. Should they know something? Should they recognize something? Should they believe something? The reader should. Eliminate that when you're finished with the essay and you're turning in your final draft, but have that sentence in front of you when you're writing the essay. Use that as a guide to write your thesis. People are bored for many reasons. No crap. So people are bored. Why are they bored? Because the internet has shortened their attention spans. That's good. Their phones have trained them to demand constant stimulation. That's good. Manufacturers have provided them with too many product options. That's good. Now, for a 2 to 5 page paper, this is probably way too long. But you're going to show me how the internet has shortened attention spans. You're going to show me how phones have trained people to demand constant stimulation. And you're going to show me the effect of too many product options. I know exactly what we're talking about. I know what the reasons are. I'm not guessing what the many reasons are. Facebook and Twitter, I suppose I should change this to X. I'm still old. Influence American voters in good and bad ways. Well, almost everything influences American voters in good or bad ways. So, I'm going to limit the American voter. Since there's 300 million people, I'm going to talk about college students. I'm going to talk about the fact that they've never lived in a world without Facebook and Twitter, social media. I'm going to group those. And because of this, they are more critical consumers of information. That's pretty good to me. And they're more informed than most older Americans. That's pretty good to me. If I want it to be negative, I could take a sentence about, they may be more critical consumers of certain types of information, but they're not more informed because of all the misinformation available on Facebook and Twitter, on social media. Both of those are options. Just think about what the good and bad ways are. I think I'm going to wrap this one up here. Hope to see you all in the next class period. And I hope this was a little bit helpful, thinking about what's the point I want to make? How can I use this sentence to guide my essay as a writer? And how can I create a thesis statement that guides the reader, that isn't vague, that isn't too general, that's specific, but fits the parameters of the assignment?